All right, so now we're putting the railing in, and I started doing the railing just the way I see it here, freehand, by counting, seeing where that railing on each step, each of those steps showed me where the railing is. So over here and the step right there, this part here, on the 1, 2, 3rd step, this is where it starts turning. Then halfway of that step, this is where the end of the railing is. So I was just following as a guideline the steps, and also the corner of each step with the railing. And then when I got here, I just went freehand, not really worrying about anything. But we just decided to continue the railing. And all I did is I added, I'm going to do it one more time. So this is where I think this railing stops right here, and it goes straight down from there. So if we want to continue, I would ignore this part. And that's where it is right now. That's the last railing right now. Okay, connected to this right here. Now I'm going to add one more. Let's say, say halfway or even a bit higher. It connects with this step here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th one from the bottom connects with that. The last one will be lower. And let's connect this one with this, the one next, the next step down. This is where it ends. And then I'm going to take a line and just go connect them. From that, I'm going to look at the movement. If the curve is really soft and it looks like it turns in a natural way, then perfect, done. If it needs adjustment, if it's too sharp down here and then you have a curve here, it needs to be rounded softly a bit on this side. Then we can put a small detail, maybe connect that, and maybe a finial or something that will connect it. That's a nice. There we go. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. These steps are not perfect. Even in the reference, they're not perfect. So this is kind of, that's why this reference is interesting, because nothing is perfect in there. And that's the way it was built. That's it. So those railings here are further apart from each other, top, from here to here. And then as soon as you start curving, this starts curving, they get closer to each other and closer and closer. And then again, they're away from each other. Like there's a distance here wider distance than these. So that's a minor kind of, or interesting kind of perspective. And it creates a nice perspective when you do it this way. Okay. That's good. This one here. Actually, this one goes down here, and that one here. But again, you know what? I'm not going to be technical here because it's once we start putting the color, if I see that it needs to be stretched down this line, I'll do it at that point. But for now, that's good. Nothing's working. That's okay.
I bought Cindy's painting.
Hold on. So right now I'm mixing, I have here burnt sienna, cadmium red light, not medium. This is medium, and it's too warm, too purple, mixed with the burnt sienna. I need this to be more on the orangey side, red, but kind of an orange. But for first layer, we're going to use cadmium red light, burnt sienna, and this is a bit of black in here. So first layer, it's going to give me that rusty kind of dark rust color, and that's what we need for this. So two ways of doing this. We are going to either use, I'm using a round brush, or you could easily tape and paint inside the tape if you want. Now, freehand will work as well, because really what we are going to see later on, we're going to see is those railings in between, showing through in between greens, right? So there'll be something around that. And we still have to work on putting some green mossy color on the steps. So I think this red will look really very nice with something like that. It doesn't have to look perfect, and it shouldn't. This is an old railing. It's not a railing for a castle, so it doesn't really have to look fancy and perfect. Now, once I put color, I can tell if the movement of the railing is right or not. You know, I can sketch as much as I want, but once I put color, it's a completely different game. So color exposes everything. You know, you could see your uh, um, composition better. You can see the height and width and thickness, and usually using a pencil is okay, but color is crucial. You know, because there's fiber paste, I'm able to use to, you know, have a straight line. It's easier to make us to have a straight line with fiber paste underneath, because your brush is not sliding on the canvas. It's the fiber paste is gripping the brush. Okay, I have a suggestion there. Let's do the actual rail. I'm just cleaning up a bit. Okay, I think that's good. Just clean up a bit. Some of these lines, brush strokes right here. I'm just going to make it slightly wider, the top of the rail, just a bit. All right, it's good. Okay, so this is yellow ochre mixed with cadmium red light. I'm using a round brush. And this is my first layer of highlighting. So like a rusty kind of interesting color. I will be highlighting a little bit more later on, but for now, it will dry darker. So we'll go into a medium tone, which that's what we should have. If you see some of the, when you're highlighting this, those spikes, wooden or iron, if you see some of the dark layer showing through, don't try to cover it completely. It's nice. Because this is kind of rusty iron. So you're going to see lights and darks in there. It's not even, the paint is not even. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, let's take
This, which color you used, this one?
yellow ochre and cadmium red light.
Okay.
And let's try, see if I can highlight it a little bit more now by using, let's see if white will work with this. Although I really like this rust color. So I'm using a smaller round brush, and I'm going to use the same colors again, mix yellow ochre and red. Although this is not looking too red in there, like it's not looking, you're not seeing the right colors on the monitor because I can see that. I pushed in a bit of white in there, and let's see. So let's try from here. Okay, that's awesome. It's good. Good color. So I am putting highlights, but I'm keeping some of the darks showing through.
Sorry, did you just add white to that second coat, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I added a bit of white.
Let's go. They want to.
This color will look really nice with the greens we're going to add later on. And we're not going to highlight more than that. We will adjust highlights once we put the green, if we find that we need to. Just
So which color used in the under the wall of the railings?
okay, so it's burnt sienna,
Hmm.
cadmium red light,
Hmm.
and a bit of black.
Black. Okay, and this wall, underneath the railing one, the left side wall. Yeah.
This is a mess, so I wouldn't go by that because it needs to be adjusted. It's just a bunch of raw umber and yellow ochre, and it's not working that well, Asha. I
Okay,
wouldn't go by
so,
that.
okay, I will do
Just a
later on.
brown, yeah, just a brown, because it's just a bit background for the greens that we're gonna put in there. Once the greens are there, I'll go in between, and then I will adjust the highlights in between the branches. So
Okay,
it's more like a, you know, I'll do a negative painting at that point. But right
Okay.
now it doesn't look good. So it's just kind of, it's a bit messy.
okay, okay.
Okay, so this is sap green. I'm keeping all of the colors I've used before. They're here. I would just add more burnt umber in here. Oh, that's not burnt umber. So what I have is burnt sienna, cadmium red light, yellow ochre, white, burnt umber, and now sap green in here. So I'm going to take that sap green, mix it with some of these colors that I have, say sap green and burnt umber. That it gives me an olive green, mossy green. And what I want to do is I want to create kind of a bit more colors in here, especially green. Remember when you mentioned last week, Ingrid and Christine, you mentioned the green that's in here, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do right now. Now, we want to see the green, but we don't want to go kind of too dark. I'm using now the green I had, olive green, and I'm putting in between a couple of dabs, and this is dabbing, a couple of dabs of burnt umber. I'm going to keep some of the colors underneath showing because I like the purple I see in here. Let's take some yellow. That's a
It's yellow
Yellow.
ochre, right?
yellow ochre. Yes, yellow ochre. Oh, this is beautiful. This red is the burnt umber. I'm sorry, burnt sienna. There's something about green and red. These two colors together, they're really nice together. So I mentioned before that I'm not going to go over everything because I like some of the greens or some of the purples that I see underneath, but I'm going to create an interesting depth in here, or colors, mixture of colors. That's nice. You can see some olive green in here. Now the camera is showing, let me see if I remove that. It's not that it's not that dabby. You know, you can see here, I can see this dark. I can see this dark. Actually, in reality, it's not that dark. So there's kind of a beautiful, soft transition of colors. You don't see those strong, dark brushstrokes that you're seeing in the camera, with the camera. So when I send you the picture, you will see it better. You'll know what I mean. So this is just sap green right now, just a bit, so I can see, because the one before, the green I had before is olive green. So it kind of disappears. It's more like an earthy green. So I'm going to do the same. And this is a good opportunity for me right now to kind of fix anything that needs to be fixed. Like I would push this step up here. My dog is snoring. So funny, he's deep sleep.
Don't rattle the treat bag.
I'll wait for it to dry, and I would go over what I did in a couple of areas with adding a touch of white to the same colors. Any color, pick any color you want. Green, brown, and then just add a couple of beautiful, kind of soft highlights. Beautiful, nice. Oh, like that. I love this. I really like when I mix my colors and I don't get mud. This is a beautiful, soft greens, mossy green, not too dark, with some earth reds from the burnt sienna I have here. Well, that's going to take a couple of hours, but that's why I'm doing this right now. So when you go back to the demo, to the video, you'll have time to do it slowly and in, it doesn't have to be in one sitting. Just go back and forth, and whenever you have time, add a couple of more dabs. Let's take some yellow ochre in here. Beautiful. If there's too much of one color, add some green on it or over it, or brown, or whatever color you like. That's too much green right now. So I'm going to go back, pick up some burnt sienna, and that's better. This is making a huge difference in those steps. They look much nicer. They look much more interesting because of the colors that I'm adding in here.
Almost ages it.
It's just beautiful, really.
Now you're really stepping into time.
Yes.
Are you doing this for all the steps, Lael?
Yes,
Are you recording right now?
yes, I am.
Okay, good.
Once you get into it, it's just kind of you're somewhere else. When you get into it, when you are enjoying it, enjoying what you're doing. It honestly, on the monitor, it doesn't look that great. It looks much better here. So I'll send you a picture.
Can you zoom? in
Even,
on
I
one-
don't know, even if I zoom, does it make a difference? Yeah,
or
maybe
just the-
a bit, a bit. Because the camera picks up all of the details, like it's just too much detail, especially the canvas texture. I find it distracting.
Do you generally use a brown brush for these riser details?
For this, yes, I do.
Like even in your other paintings? When you have a step towards the, right in front of the door?
It depends on the size. If the size is kind of maybe bigger, I would use this.
Right, okay.
I'll just go, and then the side,
Okay.
flat and side, flat and side. Yeah. I really nice. Thank you, ladies, for suggesting the mossy color, because it made a big difference. Thank you, Ingrid, for the title. I love the title. It's so good. Okay, now we have to come up with another title for the other ones. I'm like, now I know you can do it. You can't. You're gonna do that.
Well, we did the door one already.
Yeah, we did the door. We still have the field now, the new one. The field of the one we're going to do on Not this Thursday, next Thursday.
Oh, the wildflowers, kind of.
Yes, yes, yes. And the bouquet for, Wednesday night, once we're done with this, the one we're working on right now. So Wednesday night,
So that vase one that you showed, is that the Wednesday night project?
yes, that's the Wednesday night. The vase. Oh, I found other ones, I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, the vase one for Wednesday night. It's this. This is what we're doing
Mhm.
for the Wednesday night.
Mhm.
So, okay, I'm gonna stop recording.